The Giants have to stop dragging their feet, though, because the Houston Texans are just waiting to swoop Nick Caserio away from the Patriots. So hey, how's it going? I'm Keith here at Sportsvibestv, and in this video, I'm going to be discussing my 2 top picks to replace Dave Gettleman as GM at the conclusion of this season. We all can see the Giants need somebody else at the top of the organization making the proper picks. You know, the Giants right now are 1-7, which is unfortunate because the division is extremely weak. If we would have done what we had to do against the Cowboys and the Eagles, we would literally be in first place and, you know, potentially cruising to an actual playoff berth. But unfortunately, things have not, worked out the way we had planned, and we need to find someone else to guide this ship in the right direction. And I'm going to be looking at, representatives from the Patriots organization. And the reason I want to do that is I want to make sure that there's chemistry between Joe Judge and whoever the Giants bring in to replace Dave Gettleman. You have to remember, Joe Judge is a fairly new coach, and we don't want the Giants to bring in a GM that doesn't necessarily gel with Joe Judge, because then we're going to just be what the Jets are. The Jets brought in a head coach that didn't gel with the GM, and they basically, threw the flag in on a whole season. They had a GM bringing players that the coach didn't want on the team, and you can see how bad that has been for the development, not only of the team, but also the development of the quarterback. And the Giants have to make sure we do not go that route once again. Honestly, we should have moved on from Dave Gettleman last offseason, but the Giants, for some reason, decided they wanted to give him an additional year, and it looks like it was a mistake. You look at Andrew Thomas, he's not performing, at the same level as those tackles drafted behind him. McKinney is hurt. You have safeties that were drafted elsewhere that are performing better. And we need a new GM. And the GM that I'm going to be looking at is going to be either Nick Caserio or Elliot Wolf. Both are currently with the New England Patriots in some capacity. Nick Caserio is the assistant GM, and Elliot Wolf is just a consultant. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over and I'm just going to look at some of the biographies and some of the stats. Well, I won't say stats, but the resumes of each candidate. So let's just jump in and look at the bio for Nick Caserio. So he was named Director of Player Personnel. So Nick Caserio was named Director of Player Personnel on February 21st, 2000. And he's also been mentioned in a lot of other GM searches, but he hasn't been able to leave the Patriots. The Patriots refused to let him go, and it seems like that his contract that he signed is going to finally allow him to move on to another organization. Last offseason, the Texans were trying to reach out and acquire him, and the Patriots kind of held that up. And now that the Texans have an availability at GM, the Giants have to do everything they need to do in order to get him on staff as quickly as possible, because I'm pretty sure the Texans are doing a little bit of tampering right now to try to bring this guy in. So he has been the Director of Personnel since 2008, served in a number of different roles, both in personnel and coaching staff. This is his 20th season with the Patriots and 18th season in personnel. So he was also a wide receiver coach, and he was with New England during the same time that Joe Judge was with New England. So they already have some level of familiarity. They already are used to working together. I'm pretty sure, Joe Judge, as a wide receivers coach, as a special teams coach, has spoken or has talked to Nick Caserio when it comes to the players that he wants. Even though it's just a small unit that he was coaching, Joe Judge, he still pretty sure had some sort of dealings with Nick Caserio on a day-to-day or a week-to-week basis. So once again, He entered this is going back further. He was a graduate assistant at SV State University. He was a player back at John Carroll University. And this was going all way back into his personal life. Honestly, I'm not really concerned about his personal life. As long as nothing comes out that'll get him fired like Carlos Beltran in the Mets, I'm cool. So that's Nick Caserio. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, technically, Bill Belichick is the one making all the moves. But I'm pretty sure Nick Caserio has a hand in dealing with a lot of things when it comes to player acquisitions and cap management. So he would be number one on my list. And the fact that he's been so highly sought out in the league, I think just shows how good of a GM prospect he actually is. So if we were able to bring him in and have him have a good rapport with Joe Judge, I think that would be perfect. So the next GM candidate we're going to look at would be Elliot Wolf. He's the son of Ron Wolf, the legendary Packers GM. And as you can see over here on the right-hand side, he spent the majority of his time with Green Bay. And I don't think that there have been any personal dealings between Elliot Wolf and Joe Judge, but Patrick Graham spent time with Green Bay. So I know Patrick Graham probably has some experience with Elliot Wolf, and Elliot Wolf is currently a front office consultant with the Patriots. So I'm going to say that, he may not know Joe Judge personally, but he knows Bill Belichick, and I'm pretty sure Bill Belichick can get a meeting between the two, and the two can see whether they, see eye to eye. When it comes to other GM candidates out there, Elliot Wolf, aside from Nick Caserio, Elliot Wolf is probably the best candidate with the closest ties to Joe Judge. If it's not Nick Caserio, I would prefer Elliot Wolf, because if we go with somebody that's not that doesn't necessarily have a connection to Joe Judge, or some of the people that Joe Judge idolizes or look up to, then we may potentially have a GM that comes in, doesn't like Joe Judge, and if we have another bad season, Joe Judge may be on his way out. And I personally like Joe Judge as a coach. I like the message and the principles he's trying to put forward, or embed in his players. So I would like to see him have his full 4 or 5 years to get this ship right. And if we don't pick someone that already has a good rapport or relationship with Joe Judge, we could potentially see a very short tenure with him as head coach. So let me know what you guys think about these GM candidates. I personally think these two would be the best when it comes to replacing Dave Gettleman. Nick Caserio has done wonders along with Bill Belichick when it comes to shaping the Patriots, and when it comes to being creative with, giving Tom Brady money and not allowing it to sit on the cap. It kind of bit them in the butt this year, seeing that Tom Brady left. But when you win as many championships as they have, at some point you're going to have an off year, and this seems to be the year. So this would be the best year, to move on to greener pastures, and hopefully Nick Caserio comes in. The Giants have to stop dragging their feet, though, because the Houston Texans are just waiting to swoop Nick Caserio away from the Patriots. So let me know what you think about these two candidates down in the comments. Once again, I'm Keith, host of Sportsvibestv, and I'm out.